are new at this.
Who's this? Who's joining?
I don't know. I can't see a bunch of people.
Y'all, Daniel. Okay, what? Okay. All right, and we are officially
20%.
live. This is fantastic.
All right. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome to the Schmooze. I am Daniel Geller.
I'm Akiva Naaman. You need to move in.
Okay,
so that people can
chill
see
out. Everybody's fine. We're also Instagram living, so join us on any platform that you're comfortable with, as long as it's Facebook or Instagram. And we're off.
And we're recording, and it will be on YouTube, and we'll be posting that also afterwards.
Right. We are so technologically advanced as we look at each other in disbelief.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
So it's good to have everyone. Let's get a move on right now with our first topic. What are we schmoozing into today, Akiva?
Well, we've got 3 schmooze topics for today. Schmooze topic number 1 is if you watched our kickoff yesterday, or not kickoff, what's the word I'm looking for? Soft open yesterday. Move in. The camera can't see
right
you.
here.
No, the camera.
Okay.
People want to see your face.
Okay, look at that camera.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about the events happening in Spanish River High in Florida, rehiring a Holocaust denier in their school there, which we thought was, well, we talked about it, and you can watch it over there in the first episode of the Schmooze. I'm going to continue that a little bit with a fascinating story that I actually happen to have known some of the family members. Then we will invite, why don't you talk about our second schmooze point?
Our second schmooze point, we're going to call them something else.
I like schmooze point.
Schmooze topic.
Schmooze.
We'll get there. We're blessed to welcome Rabbi Yisrael Katz of Denver, Colorado, that is, joining us today, discussing the innovation challenges, all the things he's doing as he's building what he calls an empire, or what other people call, things in the Denver community. And we're very excited to hear his take about all the challenges and how he's overcome them as he works tirelessly with community leaders, with philanthropists, with engaged high schoolers and not engaged high schoolers alike. So we are so blessed to welcome him to the Schmooze in a couple minutes.
And then we end off every Schmooze with an interesting question, and we will and a challenge, and we will close with that. So number 1, I live in Oakland, California. And it is the synagogue that I'm a part of, Beth Jacob, was built by a man named Ernie Hollander. And someone just sent me, I guess this article is resurfacing now on aish.com. It's just an incredible story. And my question to you viewers is, and I want you to think about this while I'm talking. Which camera am I looking at over here?
I've got an idea. Everybody bear with us for 1 second.
Look at all the cameras. Oh. You know what? This is why they pay him
the mediocre bucks. Okay, yeah, you got me. Okay, let's go.
So there we go. That was perfect. So oh, look at all these people. Okay. So the question is, my question to you, and you can comment please if you're watching us on Facebook or Instagram. Do you think one should debate a Holocaust denier? So the following story is a true story by Ernie Hollander, who was a Holocaust survivor and built the Beth Jacob community here in Oakland with obviously other people. And he was in 1991 debating a Holocaust denier live on the Montel Williams show. Look up the story; it's incredible. Actually, the footage is online. It's again the Montel Williams show. And all of his friends were telling him, "Do not debate this guy. Do not give them a platform. Don't even give them the attention. They don't deserve their attention. If you're denying the Holocaust, you're just out." And he said, "No, I want to debate him. I want to show everybody the fallacy and all the falsehoods that these people are saying." And he debated this guy on live TV. Someone in New York was watching this show and said, "There's no way." He said, "This guy, Ernie Hollander, looks exactly like my friend in Yugoslavia, Zoltan." And he called up his friend in Zoltan in Yugoslavia. And it turned out this was Ernie's long. You can't forget a name like Zoltan.
Right.
And it turned out it was Ernie's long lost brother. And for since the Holocaust, 1945 to 1991, they did not know. They both thought the other person had perished in the Holocaust, and they were reunited live on the Montel Williams show. We're gonna post a link to that so people can watch it later. But it was just an incredible show.
Write that down.
Do you think that people that we should be debating Holocaust deniers? Should we not even give them a platform? What do you think? Comment in the comments. And now,
that's a good place to comment.
That's the best place to comment.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Akiva. Also, I think even special as we're both zooming in from, or living in from schmoozing in.
No. Schmoozing in. Yeah, that's also a verb. That's a verb. Everyone's going to be saying it now.
Yeah, for sure, because of us. Schmoozing in from Oakland, California, where he founded the community here. So I think it's definitely appropriate.
Yeah.
Now, without further ado, we are excited to welcome our guest, Rabbi Yisrael Katz.
The main event. If you know Rabbi Yisrael Katz, you're already excited. If you don't know Yisrael Katz, you should get excited. Here he comes right now. Yisrael, can you hear us?
I can. How are you guys?
There it is.
Well, there he is. Look at you. Live on the Schmooze and on Instagram. Wow. What a day.
It's a mix of both. And are we just ebbing? Is that like the first thing we're doing? We're telling innovation, motivational stories?
I didn't think we were ebbing.
But now that you're here, I feel like we should.
Yisrael, because you're well known for your singing voice. So why don't you lead us?
I'll pass.
Yes.
I'll pass. It's fine.
No, it has to happen right now.
Mary
had a little M. Go. No.
You're right. Hate to embarrass us for our lack of talent. Okay, so we are just gonna take it away, Yisrael. Yisrael, give us a little bit of background. Why are you in Denver? What's in Denver?
What's in Denver? There are Jews in Denver.
Okay, but there are Jews in Oakland.
What made you decide to move to Denver?
Right. So I was living in California, and I was running NCSY.
Are you originally from California? Tell us where you're from.
No, originally I am from Baltimore. Similar to where you grew up.
Yes, I know, but no one else knew.
Right. You understand that.
Well, that's if they listen to your last podcast.
It's not just our siblings listening. There are other people listening.
For the record, my family didn't even listen, so it's just his.
Mine did. Okay. All right, so tell us where you're from, how you made your way out to Denver, and what you're doing there now.
Right, so all good, solid questions. I was born in Baltimore. I lived there for the first 18 years of my life. Then I made my way over to Israel, learned in Lev Torah, and then after that I went to Yeshiva University. And then from there, I was offered a job to go work in California. There were a few other offers, but we
of course
took the one.
You had to always point that in. Like I always have options. I'm Yisrael Katz. I always have options. Yeah, go on.
Gonna go to the NBA. He turns it down. Then
you want me to leave? But so ended up in California, and then we're there for about 3.5 years. We went from, with NCSY terms, we ended up going from 0 to about 1,500 by the end of 3 years.
Wow!
Right? So you were like the smallest chapter in the organization, right?
No, that's pretty impressive.
Smallest. I feel like he's mocking me, but that's fine. It's okay. But
as long as it's okay with you, go on.
And then from there, I got a call on a Monday. It was definitely a Monday from a colleague or boss, however you want to phrase it. He said, "Oh, there's a job opening in Denver. Do you want it?" And I said, "I have no idea." But you know what? Well, I'll talk it out. So I talked it out with some peeps, and from there we took a city visit. We loved it, and then and then we had the opportunity to really grow and expand my experience. And overall, that's what ended up in Denver. Someone called us and we said to go, and that's it.
We're here with Rabbi Yisrael Katz. Honestly, I have known Rabbi Yisrael Katz for many years, ever since Color War 2010, and we won't say who won. And but honestly, it's really impressive, and it's very inspiring to have watched your career unfold and develop. And what you've created in Denver is just amazing. And honestly, it's something that other communities can look at the things you've accomplished there. Can you maybe share with us what
have you accomplished?
Tell us, some of the things that you're doing over there in Denver.
This wasn't condescending. I'm actually curious.
Oh, well, I don't know if I can, because the comments I'm getting from the international president, Neely Fisher.
Also, Morty Spiro seems to be sending a lot of love in the comments.
Yeah, no, Morty doesn't count, but he doesn't really matter.
He may have. He's still on.
We're not sure if he's literate, but
Morty is,
okay.
He'll be our guest next week, so for a chance to respond.
No, we already have a guest for next week.
Okay,
tell us what you've been accomplishing. Tell us about some of your accomplishments.
Right. So some of the stuff that we've accomplished so far. So when we got here in 2016, I think we were at 40, 60 teams, something like that. NCSY involved, our teams involved, and then there were a bunch of different organizations that wanted to bring in NCSY. To give something to the teams that can give them something outside of just school and what the community can offer. So a bunch of organizations got together, brought in NCSY, and sorry.
Don't read the comments. Focus
I'm not
on anything else.
But either way. So from there, we ended up going from 60 to about 150, and then last year we ended up with about 450 or so teams involved after about 4 years.
Wow.
So there's that, but beyond just team involvement, we really help cater towards the city and partner with organizations in town and things like that. So it's been beneficial, I think, to the family and for the whole city overall.
What are some of the organizations you've partnered with in Denver?
There's I don't know, a lot of them. You want to go by name?
No, that's okay.
We trust you. A lot of them. Okay, so now
you want to, I can listen by name. But
in light of COVID,
right? In light of COVID, when we talk about growth, it's obviously very difficult for us to imagine, getting back to that place of having 450 or 200 teams on a Shabbaton or whatever it is you do out there. So what have you implemented? What's an innovative approach that you've really taken on in your area that allows for continued growth? As organizations like NCSY or really anyone who does outreach or community engagement is struggling with right now?
I'll talk about a loaded question. Okay.
That's how we work here.
We spoke about in regards to partnering, right? So that's the first piece is to partner with other organizations in town. Because why? Because two heads are better than one. Pretty simple. Right? So the two heads are better than one. So you have other partners in town, other teammates. You can work off each other's strengths and really help each other. That's first. I would say the most important piece is the leadership style and the culture that we built in Denver, which I know that we've passed around to other cities, and we've seen success based off of culture and the strategies and the innovations that we made there, which basically you completely give ownership of programming to the teens, right, to the teenagers, and allow them to really take the lead, because once they take full ownership over something, they can do a much better job than you can. You just have to have you have to be humble enough to understand that you're not as good as you think you are.
Well, I've actually been told that you've been quoted in your books as having said, "Strive to empower, not to impose."
Wow.
So if you really live by that mantra, that's definitely impressive.
I will say that I in terms of teen empowerment, teen leadership, and allowing teens to be their own entrepreneurs and really pave their own way to success, Rabbi Katz is definitely a leading voice there, and I've learned a lot from him.
Agreed. On a serious note,
we know that you're very into sports, and that when everything turned virtual, you dabbled a little bit in something called Jewish Esports. Tell our viewer, what are you doing with that? What does that even mean? Because last I checked, sports was in person. So what is that? Look, what is that? I literally don't know what it is. I know there were flyers, and you texted me something. But tell our viewers, what is Jewish Esports, and how can they get involved? Also? Yeah, but okay. I totally ignored it.
Okay, esports is basically sports online, right? There are professional leagues. NBA teams have esports teams to play NBA 2K, which is a video game, right? Okay. It was not. So you basically use that as a platform to engage kids, similar to any other innovative idea that you would use to engage anyone on any level. Esports is a level in which you can engage people online on a much bigger scale and perhaps a much bigger net.
Okay.
And what does a teen do or a user do when they get them on?
Right. So that's currently what we're trying to innovate. Yeah, they're playing the game, but having taken from playing the game and using that towards to other programming.
Right. Okay. And have you found success? Like, you think this model is one that's going to stick?
It'll stick, but we're taking different avenues at the moment. We're trying to see what works the best.
Okay, and there's always an experimentation phase.
That's great. This is the year to experiment.
So we'll kind of let you off the hook with a kind of a philosophy question. You're described as a man who wears many hats, and I describe you as that because I've actually seen it in person. But with regards to all the hats that you wear in the community, we talk about community engagement. We talk about relationships with philanthropists, with teens, with foundations, organizations. You have to do clerical work. There's a great deal of programming, fundraising, planning. You are that guy in Denver.
And he's a model on the side. A lot of people don't know that. Keep going.
What? Exactly.
His face.
Right, that checks out. Yeah. Okay. So that being the case, that being your persona that you give off, how does it all get done? What do you rely on? What's your philosophy? And how, when you have a conflict, how do you make that decision? So if it's do teens come first? Of course, we say out loud teens come first, and for all the teens who are watching, you
and
come
this
first.
Is being recorded.
Right. So teens come first. But realistically, when it comes to scheduling and making sure everything gets done,
how do you balance it?
How's the balancing act? Also, you have a family. Like you have a personal worth noting.
Yes. Okay. All great questions. Thank you for like 5 at one time.
Yeah.
You're
so
welcome.
Just tie them all up with one.
This is how we cover our last question.
Incredible answer. We're closing with this question.
Right. Okay. So
I mean, the question is how can one balance when one is doing so much and accomplishing so much and esports and hundreds of teens and programming and team leadership and all the things that Daniel just said, how do you balance it all?
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you for clarifying and throwing everything all over the place. But
what I said was unclear.
I think it's because I'm a rabbi.
That must be
it.
And I beat him in Colorado. Okay, keep going.
No, I've blocked it out of my mind. PTSD. Okay, so yes, it takes a certain amount of discipline, and I've read a lot of things I've learned from a lot of people. Right, and you kind of try to throw it all into one piece to kind of help yourself stay disciplined. Also, in regards to accomplishing everything. One of those things that I learned from a mentor of mine, at least one of them, is that he always wakes up earlier than everybody else, just to let them know that he's working that much harder than you. So he wants his email to be in your inbox before you wake up.
Wow.
So that's one thing, it's my competition side speaking. But yeah, that's one avenue. Another one is the culture that we built, which took about 1.5 years or so, where the teams take full ownership over the programming. That takes a lot off the plate, because if they're covering the programming, then it gives you more free time to do other that I was explaining to you before. And they do a great job. And really, you're just managing those people, which then you have to worry about all those logistical details because they can handle it themselves. But it's also a plus because it encourages them and maximizes their potential. Also, i.e. strive to empower, not impose. Then something that I just started is on Mondays and Wednesdays are full meeting days. Like those are just days in which you set meetings and they're packed all the way through. So Tuesday and Thursday can be days in which you just do your work. Like you sit, you do your work, you catch anything, and then Fridays is the day where you tie up all the loose ends. So that's
Rabbi,
something I picked up from Forbes magazine.
I think that's amazing, and I think I was reading recently in a book about how students are more stressed and teachers are more stressed than ever before. Not just specific to 2020, but even in the last 5 years, learning how to balance your life and your work and your personal life and everything in there. You can learn from Rabbi Katz. Rabbi Katz, we're going to say goodbye. It's been great schmoozing with you. Thank you so much for coming on. We're going to end with a challenging question. And here we go. Okay, we're going to end with a challenge. The last week, you can. We're going to kick you off, but you can try. And now you can stay on. Here's the question. Last week, we in our last episode, we asked if Daniel leaves his iPad in the middle of a school hallway and I knock into it and I break it, do I have to pay? The answer is, if anyone looked it up, is no, I do not, because you should not have left your stuff in a public area. Here is the question.
I'm being irresponsible.
Exactly. I think we're all saying it. Okay. So here's the question. Comment if you know it on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Once we post a link, here's the question for next week. Here we go. You're at a baseball game. I know none of us can ever remember doing that because it's 2020, but you're at a sports game, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever it might be. And it's halfway through the game. You're all the way up in the nosebleeds, of course, because that's what you can afford. And then it's halfway through the game. You see there's like 30 empty seats all the way in the front. Can you just go down and sit in one of those seats?
For the record, when I go to baseball games, everybody wants to come to the nosebleeds. So that's where
of course. But if you're at a non-Geller game,
Right.
which is sad. Can you go down to one of those seats and just sit there? It's not costing anyone anything. What do you think?
Question. Let us know what you think in the comments. Would love to hear your opinion. And until next week.
Till next week. It's been great schmoozing with you. See you next week.
It's too much to end here.